Hello. 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 Hello, Smork. You saw the new redemption I see. Excellent. I finally got around to making a hello redemption as requested. Alright. Welcome back, everyone. Citizen Sleeper. I hope you all had a good weekend. I think this is it. This is the finale. It will be the last episode. 3 months. It'll be 3 months on the station. I think we have a couple days to get our shit together, and then it will hit the fan. I believe we have 2 days till the Flux hits. Yep. Alright. And we've already... Yeah, we have to just go and go to sleep. We didn't do that. I was worried something else might have popped up because we were out of time. I think that's why. All right. Feed the cat because we're not heartless monsters. I like the soundtrack in this game. All right. Well, let's leave first and see what's going on. It might be more pertinent to just buy food today. Well, let's see. Okay, we have 2 upgrade points. I would really like to get a 3rd point, which we may have an opportunity for in the final episode. So I'm going to hold on to those 2. I would like to gather some more scrap. That is what we're kind of the most desperate for, I suppose. I'm going to grab a couple more scraps. I think I can feed myself with the drool caps. If I just cook them. But I also don't know if I'll need drool caps. Oh shit, we can buy more scrap too. From the dealers. We're going to have a lot of scrap saved up. The previous chapter started with needing 8 scrap all at once, and we had like 5 or 6. Or something like that, I think. So, it worked out. Alright. Yeah, I might as well cook the drool. If they need drool caps, then they'll need drool caps, and we'll just have to go get them. Alright. I think I'm going to do an engineering job up here for Moritz. It bothers me a little bit they didn't rename this point like they did with the Battalion. Oh, and I got another scrap item. So I have 7 scrap. I have 5 ship mine fragments. We're going to re-roll these 2s. I'm going to spend time with Lem and Mina, my friends, because who knows what happens. This might be our last opportunity to see them. And then I just have a 2. Just have a random 2. Honestly, I don't really have anything to spend a 2 on, because I was going to photosynthesize, but I forgot hanging out with Lem and Mina. You know what? I'm just gonna leave it. We're just gonna go to sleep. Alright. This is it. The next episode should start now. Or be startable. I'm not sure what the case is. Yeah, here we go. So, hey, how's it going? Bald man play game real good. Thanks. Thank you. Also, it's good to see you. Thanks for coming by. All right. Here we go. Sleeper. Peak is waiting for you in the corridor. It's time. Peak looks pale and disheveled, with heavy marks under their eyes and strands of hair sticking to their face. I'm ready. Peak holds up a thumbnail-sized drive. All the data I've compiled on the Flux event, the effects of the wave, and the structures that hide within it, is on here. You look at the tiny drive, a casket of dark secrets. I've annotated it to the best of my ability. Anyone should be able to understand the threat, the potential in this, Peak sighs. It makes for grim reading. Without intervention, the Eye will suffer a cascading collapse of systems, just like the colonies of Ember's moons. Real good? Oh, hey, Mirror Mouse. Thanks for coming by. Double Trouble. Team Double Trouble has showed up. Alright, intervention? Peak grimaces. That I'm still working on. Peak looks at the drive. This shadow in the Flux, this protocol, is so hard to pin down. It adapts to any countermeasure I've tried to deploy. It's like trying to hold water in a cage. It slips straight through. There has to be a way. Peak closes their hands around the drive. We need help, Sleeper. This is about everyone on this station. They sigh. We have to set up a meeting to tell someone who can do something about all this. Stay silent. Or perhaps, Peak adds thoughtfully, we've been thinking about this all wrong. Peak's eyes glint. Why make a choice when we can tell both of them? Why pick a side when the only side in this entire thing is one we all need to take? Peak speaks as they think, their words barely keeping pace with their thoughts. We need to resist this together or we will fail. We need everyone on board, Sleeper. Peak smiles. That is the only way. We send the data to both. You are right. Peak smiles. I'm glad you see it too. They look away. Another Flux event is coming. I'm sure of it. And I'm not sure we can survive without help. Peak opens their hand and holds the drive out for you to take. You need to do this, Sleeper. I can't. You know Saul, you know Helene. They trust you. To them, I'm just another spacer. But you are a part of this place. Hearing someone else say it hits you hard. You are a part of the Eye. Peak is right. But right now that feels more like a weakness than a strength. I have set up a data relay at the cordon, its neutral ground. Take the data and send it out to Havenage and the flotilla. Once they receive it, they will come. We can be sure of that. You will meet them there and take them through it all. No one could do a better job. They tuck a strand of hair behind their ear. Come with me. Peak pauses. I can't. It would only draw suspicion on you. Havenage want nothing to do with us, and Saul is paranoid at best. Peak tentatively puts a hand on your shoulder. Thank you, Sleeper. I know this is hard, but we have to move forward. We can't keep this to ourselves anymore. They step back, looking thin and pale in the harsh station light. Come talk to me once it's done, and they slip away into the Eye. All right. We got some convincing to do. Maybe. It's like inviting two people who have been fighting with each other to meet. Hey, don't be mad. Don't be mad, but I invited them. All right. Once you send the data, episode Purge and the final series of events on the Eye will begin. After this point, you will not be able to return to complete other drives or find other endings. Make sure you're ready. Yes, I have absolutely done everything. I have done everything there is to do. We have no drives. No active drives. A lot of completed drives. There are some fails in there. We did a lot. Busy 3 months. All right, start action. Peak's relay lies ready. This is it. The data is a ticking time bomb. Once it is sent, there is no going back. Peak's relay pings a confirmation. The data is sent. Now all you can do is wait for the response. With the data sent, the only thing to do is wait. As you do, you imagine Helene receiving the data, perhaps in the middle of some Havenage Council meeting. You think of her trembling hands as she slips out of the room to read it. Her reaction you can't predict. You imagine Saul, too, one of his crew finding him in some corner of the Pilgrim Seed, overseeing the modifications that will turn it into an ark. Those sharp eyes scanning the data, looking for a way to proceed. The wait draws out, and to pass the time, you watch the activity beyond the edge of the Eye. The scrap shuttles pulling components from the now abandoned cordon, and the supply skiffs making runs between the flotilla ships. It isn't long before you hear the chirping of one of Helene's now familiar drones approaching the viewing platform, and then Helene herself strides into the room. Where did you get this, Sleeper? Helene holds up a slate, scrolling with streams of Flux data as she enters. I need to know your source. A friend. Seem to have a lot of friends, Sleeper. Helene raises an eyebrow. But I need this data authenticated. I can't just... She pauses and pushes her hair back out of her face. This is a lot to take in. A shadow protocol inside the Flux? The system's KAN channel starting up? A total collapse of the Eye? She rubs her forehead. If I bring this to the council, they'll... She turns away. The KAN channel, that's like the system's faster-than-light material extraction engine or whatever. They'll believe you. She laughs. Do you know what has been happening with the Havenage, Sleeper? She looks away, out at the flotilla. Since a refugee ship started arriving, things have changed. It's chaos. No one can settle on a single issue. There is division at every vote. But in the division, only one group prospers, the hardliners. Because as each counselor gets tired of the arguments, gets tired of compromise, they become more attracted to the easy answers. The flotilla is to blame. The refugees are opportunists. The eye must be defended. She shakes her head. And now you're telling me they brought something to the eye that will cause a collapse? They didn't bring it. The eye should be defended. They didn't bring it. It doesn't matter, Sleeper. That is all the counselors will hear. She closes her eyes, a hand to her temple. Many of them already presume that the refugees are somehow to blame. Did someone say refugees? Saul clanks into the docking bay, grinning at the situation. Speak of the devil, and well, here I am. His suit hisses as he settles on his cane. Helene glances between the two of you, uncertain if she has been drawn into some elaborate plan. Saul holds out a hand to her. Saul, he nods. I believe we have spoken remotely while the cordon was still up. We are all allies here. Saul raises an eyebrow. That seems a little presumptuous, doesn't it? I trust you, Sleeper, but Havenage have been the ones seeking to hold us without charge or good reason. I'm not Havenage, Helene blurts out, then corrects herself. What I mean to say is no one person represents Havenage. That's the idea. I did not support the cordon, and I did not support your quarantine. They keep spelling your name wrong? I mean, do they? That's not your name, okay? You don't own the rights to that name. Saul. That's even your real name, which it isn't. Saul nods. Well then, Saul glances at you. Anyone mind if I get myself up to speed here? He pauses, but you get the feeling he isn't expecting an answer. 1. The Flux events, the very same destabilizing waves that collapse the colonies on the moons of Ember, have reached the station. He holds up a stumpy finger. 2. According to data Sleeper provided, these events are acting as a cover for some kind of intrusive protocol which is causing the real damage. The second finger joins the first. 3. This shadow protocol will do the very same thing it did to Ember's Song, Step, and Hearth, and quickly. In short, it'll shut down everything keeping this place alive. Third finger pops up. 4, and this is my favorite, we have no idea who or what is doing this and why. Saul's final finger joins the other 3. Is that about the total of it all? There's also another Flux event coming. Of course there is, Small. Saul smiles thinly. Sounds... Helene pauses, searching for words. Intimidating. Helene turns to Saul. Did you manage to put up any kind of resistance on Ember's Hearth? Saul shakes his head. That's why we are here. Pilgrim Seed was the biggest ship to make it out unscathed. He pauses. I suppose we didn't have this data. We didn't know what was eating up the systems. We all thought it was the Flux. Helene looks at you. And I imagine you, Sleeper, and whoever helped you uncover this might be able to figure out a countermeasure? We can try. Helene nods approval. Okay, so that's the start of it. If you'll forgive me, Saul cuts in. Part of why I was able to save as many as I could on Ember's Hearth was that I gave up hope early. Saul shifts his weight, his suit hissing. There were endless strategy meets, system reboots, tests, and trials. But I just got on with working on the Pilgrim Seed, with getting people on board. So when the second and the third and the rest of the Flux events hits, we were ready to go. So if I can offer you some advice, Miss Not Havenage, it is to give up on that line of thought you have, that hope, and to start the evacuation now, right this cycle. Saul looks out of the observation deck towards the Pilgrim Seed. I've already started the process of converting the remaining volume of the Pilgrim Seed for human habitation. With Havanage's resources, I dare say we could finish the job with time to spare. Saul scratches at his beard. I know it's hard, and I know it's sudden, but you have to give up hope. We have to run. There will be no heroes here, just those that keep living and those that don't. Helene listens in silence, making calculations. She looks out at the bulk of the Pilgrim Seed, which, despite all its vastness, is dwarfed by the eye as a whole. Something flickers in her eyes. She opens her mouth to speak. She stops, frozen. Let me think. Helene rubs her temple. I need a moment. Helene paces. And as you watch her, you realize how young she is and how lost she is in the systems and protocols she has to navigate. You can almost see the strings and ties that bind her, glinting like webs in the wide space of the observation platform. We purge the shadow protocol. Helene stops pacing. But with what resources? The data you sent me, this thing is a shadow, uncontrollable, untraceable. Perhaps with a full contingent of the Havenage Systems Department, but that would require hundreds of work orders to be overlooked. Maintenance schedules abandoned, she looks away. Getting that through the council, would that even be possible? She glances at Saul, who is patiently watching, patiently listening. Try to get it through the council, or do it without the council. We do it without them. Impossible. Helene looks at the slate again. I will take this to the council, force them to listen, force them to act. You both jump as someone loudly clears their throat nearby. Your eyes jump to the dark entryway that Helene emerged from just minutes ago. Kemp, hardline Havenage counselor. Oh, someone's been eavesdropping. What a cozy little meeting this is. A man steps from the shadows, dressed in the same style of Havenage overalls as Helene. And I must say, that is some very incendiary rhetoric you're using, Counselor Helene. You glance at Helene and her face drops immediately. Kemp, she curses under her breath. Saul shifts his weight on his cane, but otherwise remains still like a casual observer. Plotting against Havenage with an interloper, he gestures at Saul. Everyone will be so disappointed. Kemp smiles a bright smile. Some of the counselors had such high hopes for our youngest member, his smile drops. I, of course, never let novelty distract from the importance of experience. This guy sounds like a fucking dick. What is with Havenage? Just dickheads. Helene stares daggers at Kemp. Enough of this petty shit, Kemp. You need to see this. She holds out her slate with an outstretched arm. The games are over. No more point scoring. No more lobbying. You and your hardliners need to stop. This is something real. Kemp calmly takes the slate and prods the screen, scrolling through the Flux data. His face betrays nothing, but you see some complex calculation flickering in his sharp eyes. Kemp lowers the slate slowly and smiles at Helene. And what do you think this shows? Helene frowns. Don't play games. You can read. The Flux is a carrier signal for some shadow protocol, most likely corporate in nature. Maybe it's Solheim re-emerging to claim their station. Maybe it's a takeover. But either way, the station is under threat. You're right about that, but the rest, conjecture. Kemp rubs his chin. What we have is a virus in our systems which emerged precisely when the flotilla arrived. In fact, it times in perfectly with the mysterious event that freed them. So what I see is a hostile cyber warfare attack instigated by dissidents that fled Ember's moons after committing terrorist attacks on their own soil. Kemp's face darkens. That is the order of the facts, nothing more and nothing less. Facts I'll be happy to present to the council. Kemp tightens his grip on the slate. Helene laughs. You think that's the only copy of the data, you sanctimonious shit? No, I don't, Kemp smiles. But who do you think they'll listen to, Helene? Especially after I tell everyone about this little clandestine meeting. You couldn't win power by Havenage's systems, by our laws, so you resort to this. Kemp shakes his head. The law is with me. It is as simple as that. He gestures, and out of the shadows, 2 Havenage security officers appear. Now, no need for that, Saul suddenly speaks up. His silence had meant Kemp had stopped paying attention to him, but now you notice he has backup of his own. A group of his crew stand at the edges of the room. They're carrying long, boxy guns. You've never seen anything like them on the eye. Glossy XPR logos glint along their barrels. These are Esch's guns. Kemp freezes. The officers hesitate, holding back in the doorway. Be careful there, outsider, he stutters. Kill me and Havenage will never forget. Saul waves a hand at him. No one is killing anyone, so let's calm down. Saul scratches his beard. But I am going to have to ask you to leave. Helene glances at him, and he gives her a gentle nod. And you'll leave your colleague here with me. He raises an eyebrow. We haven't finished our conversation. Kemp laughs and shakes his head. You are finished, Helene. The council will never allow you back after this. Then he turns and walks out of the observation deck, taking his officers with him. You all pause to catch your breath. Helene looks ready to collapse. Saul flexes inside his suit, nodding at his crew to check that Kemp is fully retreated. Saul wrenches part of his suit back into place, grimacing. Your friends leave a lot to be desired. He shoots a glance at Helene. Seems like support for the evacuation might be a hard ask. Helene doesn't respond. She stares out at the pilgrim seed once more, trying to process what's in front of her. She sighs and turns back to you both. I won't call for an evacuation. She looks at Saul. Maybe that is a fatal mistake, but I can't do it. I understand. But, she pauses, I won't block it either. If people want to leave, Havenage will let them. That is what I will propose to the council. She sighs, if they let me speak. You have to try. She nods at you and Saul and turns to leave. Saul is quiet. He scratches at his beard. Good luck. He offers to the departing Helene, but she does not respond. He leans on his cane. I'll be honest with you, Sleeper. None of this changes anything for me. The Pilgrim Seed will be going in a handful of cycles, whether Havenage wants it or not. You can't abandon the Eye. How long? Saul grimaces. Honestly, as soon as we're ready. I'm not eager to run down the clock to the last cycle. Saul puts a hand on your shoulder. There's a berth for you, and for any you can gather, Sleeper. That much I owe you. And Helene? I wouldn't hold out much hope of her coming around, Sleeper. She's too tied up in all this. I won't let her leave even if she wants to. He eyes you. Hell, I'd say the same about you, but you have a habit of proving me wrong. My crew will take me from here. Don't you worry. Saul straightens up. Oh, and thank you, Sleeper, for sending the data. I appreciate the extra info, and I'll see if it can help us shore up the Pilgrim Seed against any future Flux events. We had you back on Ember's Hearth. He pauses, suddenly losing his appetite for discussing the past. Saul sighs. Of course, we're going to need all the help we can get. If you can spare some time, come to the Pilgrim Seed to help me get it ready. Bring others. There's a future to be earned here, cycle by cycle. We'll be leaving as soon as we're able. If you want to help us get there faster, well, you'd be welcome. He meets your eye. Saul grimaces. Well, he pauses. Just don't keep me waiting. And he limps off towards his waiting crew. Pause for a moment to let your thoughts catch up. People want to hear about all this. They should be your first port of call. Another drive. Evacuate the Eye. Okay, there's Peak, Pilgrim Seed, and whatever's going to be going on the actual Eye. So let's go talk to Peak first. Didn't go very well, honestly. I'm going to take a sip of water here. Hold on. As you enter the climbing briar, you immediately have to jump aside as Ash, lugging a massive crate across the cargo bay, pushes past you, grunting an apology as she does. Grunt back, as she doesn't look back. As you turn back to the bay, Peak pushes past you. Sorry, Sleeper, just a second. Peak rushes to catch up with Esh. Put that down, please, Esh, but she doesn't respond to their urging. We can't leave, not yet. Peak puts a hand on her shoulder. Please, I'm the only one here who can... The crate drops, the sound of its impact echoing around the bay like thunder. Can do what, Peak? Her eyes are burning with anger. Save this place? Are you still that naive? We are running, Peak. We are running because this thing cannot be stopped. Couldn't be stopped at XPR, our home. Why would we stay to stop it here? Because we can. Actually, we can give these people a chance, Peak pleads with her. Like they gave the refugees a chance? Ash shakes her head. No, Peak, this is not on us. We barely made it out of XPR. I worked for years to escape, and now you want to throw it all away? I left everything behind. My mother, my friends, to take you out of that place. She clenches her jaw. She turns and slams her hand onto the crate, breathing hard. We go. That's the end of it. Peak turns away. You feel unsure what to do, but you know now is not the time for outside arguments. This is between them. He crosses the bay back towards you. I'm sorry you had to see that, Sleeper, they sigh. Let's talk upstairs. Peak leads you to the entry ladder, taking you up, out of the bay and into the habitation level of the ship. You follow them through the tight corridors, noticing the handwritten notes, the clutter, the repairs, the signs of a home. Here, sit. Peak gestures to the broad mess table with its curved couches, and you slide in on one side. Peak sits opposite. You brush their hair out of their eyes and take a deep breath. So, how did it go? What did they say? I've been waiting all cycle. Tell them about Helene. Peak listens nervously as you explain how Helene said she will support your efforts to find countermeasure for the Shadow Protocol. Okay. Peak looks pleased. Sounds good, much better than I was hoping. What about the Council? Are they behind that, or will she operate alone? Tell them about Kemp. Peak looks increasingly troubled as you tell them about the hardline counselor, Kemp's sudden appearance. Damn. Then Helene's going to have problems of her own to deal with. Peak shakes her head. Looks like we won't be able to count on anything from Havenage. They pause. What stopped Kemp from arresting her? Tell them about the guns. Peek rolls her eyes. Oh, of course. Those are the guns Esh managed to smuggle through to the refugees, the ones she didn't tell us about. Peek sighs. Another thing that's on us. What's on us? Esh is standing quietly in the doorway, listening. You don't know how long she's been there for. Peek looks up at her with tired eyes. Sleeper found the weapons you smuggled from the XPR. Esh freezes. She glances between you and Peek as if this might be some elaborate joke. The flotilla used them? Esh moves out of the doorway and enters the room. What happened? Peek interrupts. Be thankful that they didn't. They used them as a threat, that is all. Good. Esh folds her arms. You get the feeling that she knows Peek will not approve. Peek goes to speak, then decides not to take the bait. They glance at you. Sure you've heard enough of us arguing this cycle, Sleeper. Peek shoots a look at Esh. Our introduction of those weapons into the equation are just another reason why we cannot simply run away. Esh looks away but says nothing. She surely knows they cannot absolve themselves of responsibility here, so what is motivating her? You realize that she still might be trying to protect Peek, even from themselves. Suddenly a shrill beeping fills the room, and Peek pulls out their slate to silence it, but as they do, they freeze, their finger hovering above the screen. Beeping continuing its insistent pulse. What? Peek doesn't seem to hear you. They blink with glazed eyes at the slate, then they let out a long exhale and tap the screen. The bleeping shuts off, leaving a ringing silence behind. Esh frowns at Peek. Planning to explain? 12 cycles. Peek looks vacantly up at you both. 12 cycles until the next Flux event. They shake their head. I've been using the arrays on the Briar to look toward the center of the system, to approximately where the CAN channels should be. Just this moment, they detected a signal from the inner system. Given the distance and pattern of previous Flux events, we have 12 cycles before it reaches the eye. The silence in the room is deafening. 12 cycles, that's it, before a second wave hits, and this place... Peek interrupts your thoughts. We start now, that's the end of it. Peek stands up to face Esh. You want to take the Briar and run, Esh? That's on you, but I won't do it. They take a deep breath. I'll be here, Sleeper, for every cycle it takes trying to find a solution. I'll need your help. Their eyes meet yours, and you see a wild desperation flickering there. We will find something. The sooner we have a plan, the better. If it takes us 12 cycles to fix this thing, it'll be too late. Peek's eyes flash with determination. They reach for a slate and pass it to you, so we can keep in touch. You pocket the thin, handheld terminal. And Esh, Peek starts, but she's gone, storming down the corridors of the ship on a path to who knows where. You know from experience that it is impossible to outrun your fears, but you get a sense that Esh will try anyway. Peek rubs her red eyes, staring after Esh. Maybe I'll take a moment before we start. They smile weakly, tears of exhaustion gathering in their eyes. See you back here soon, okay? And you slip from the room into the corridor. Peek's quiet sobs somehow carrying through the ship behind you as you leave. Oh boy. Okay. The next Flux event is coming and it can't be stopped. The sooner your preparations are complete, the better the outcome. Devise a strategy. Peek is tirelessly analyzing the Flux data and testing countermeasures on the Shadow Protocol. They need your help. Peek is desperately looking for a way to combat the coming Flux event and the Shadow Protocol infecting the station. This is probably 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 3 dice. We'll get through that, no problem. I don't know if that's enough, though. Berth refitting and supply hauling. Building berths into the vast bulkheads of the Pilgrim Seat is a huge job, and Saul needs every able-bodied engineer to help. The evacuees will need many supplies for the trip to the Starboard Belt, and they have to be hauled aboard in only a few cycles. The Pilgrim Seat will take the majority of the evacuees off the eye, but is there enough time to settle them all? And then do we have anything else to look at down here? I don't see any changes in any of this stuff. Is there stuff maybe all the way down in Havenage? I wish that, like, Navigator or, like, one of our AI friends would show up. And help. Nothing new there. Okay. So they want us to balance between the Pilgrim Seed and Peak, but I think I can get Peak done right now. Nothing else up here, eh? No. Protect the eye. Okay. I have a feeling this isn't going to be good enough because it's giving us a really long time to do this, so I have a feeling this is like actually just step 1. Let's drop some dice in here. You show the latest data to Peak and their eyes light up. They have seen something, but what is it? Same. Excellent. Okay, it's first step done, I guess. Peak beckons you over the wide mess table where they've set up a terminal. The hours of bleary-eyed work have left you both drained, and Peak looks ready to collapse. You slide onto the curved couch beside them, something dark and malevolent filling their screen like an oil stain. Shadow Protocol. Not quite. Peak's eyes seem to glint in the screen light. This isn't what you think, Sleeper. Not by a long shot. You look again at the screen, leaning in close to the dark curved shape to see its texture. You see whirls and currents like a river, a dark flow unlike the Shadow Protocol's dark tangle. Well, it's the river. You know exactly what this is. You have swum in this river, almost drowned in its shifting flow. It is the Gardener's Chorus, the dark cloud which blankets the Greenway's networks, the bioorganic morass of malfunctioning protocol grown vast and strange. I know this place. Peak glances at you. I thought you might have seen it, covering the Greenway like a shroud. Peak meets your eye. Everything I tried to do to contain the Shadow Protocol has been a failure. It slips through any containment, absorbs any countermeasure. That, unfortunately, is an unavoidable fact. And yet, the eye still spins. The Shadow Protocol is being slowed, partially contained. It is spread across the station, as we have seen, but in reduced pockets, in fragments. So I started to look outside of our test cases, outside of these fragments we have been poking and prodding in our little lab, Peak smiles, and look what I found. Peak taps a key on their terminal, and you realize the screen is showing a recording of the data flow inside the eye's networks, sampled from hundreds of points around the Greenway. You watch as a subtle shift occurs at the edge of the flowing dark curve that blankets the Greenway, something spreading like an ink stain. Somehow darker than black, it bleeds across, the Shadow Protocol. Now watch. Peak eagerly points at the screen. You see something strange, a fizzing at the edge of the shadow, a sparking, and then it is gone. And beneath, for a moment, a millisecond, you see into the networks of the Greenway. You're reminded of an image you had forgotten, of pulling a plant from its pot and seeing a bone-white root ball where you expected to see dark soil. The white connections writhe like worms. Then it is gone, the dark flow closing up as quickly as it opened. What did I just see? Hope, Peak sighs, wrapped up in something terrible. You think back to your meeting with the gardener, to that sense of something old and world and inhuman to its core. Peak excitedly starts to explain. This is the only chance we have, the only countermeasure we've seen. In the moment it opened, I detected something, centralized intelligence within the local ID, Gardener. This protocol, this system, whatever it is, can protect its network from the Shadow Protocol. But if it stays in the Greenway, the eye will still fail. The station systems are too exposed, too spread across the hub, the shipyards, the spokes. Peak glances away. The only way is to break it open, to spread the entity's network, access it. Spread the entity's network, access it, expand it somehow. You want to let the Gardener out? I've been inside there, Peak. Peak pauses, trying to read your expression. And this Gardener, can they help us? You try to remember what that strange being said to you, but all you remember is the feeling of dissolving into that network, the heady mix of growth and decay, the ceaselessness of it. Would they protect the station, or would they simply dissolve it? I don't know. Peak stands up and walks away a little. They lean against the countertop, their head hanging so low their long hair touches the work surface. You hear them breathing deeply. I don't know, Sleeper. They lift their head. I really don't know. It's okay. Peak turns. Is it? They're angry. Is it okay that we have to decide this, to attempt this alone? You know as well as Peak that this is it. You know it because over the past cycles you have run every simulation, every possibility you can think of, and still come up with nothing. You've stared a hole into your screen and dreamt of that black shadow creeping in at the edges of your vision. Peak recognizes the look in your eyes, the potent cocktail of resignation and anger. Let's say we do this, Peak begins, eyeing you carefully. What do we need? They begin to answer their own question, thinking out loud. I suppose we'd need to do two things. Find a way to limit or control the Gardener's spread, and then reconnect the Greenway. Peak starts pacing, the ideas coming quickly now. Controlling the spread means preparing the station, limit the Gardener's network to key systems. We don't want it taking everything, we just need it to protect the station's core functionality. Then we need to reconnect the Greenway, hook it back up to the main line of the network. Those systems we prepared, they should connect, and Gardner will spread along the paths we prepared. At least that is my theory, Pete grimaces. But if we don't prepare correctly, the Gardner might not spread, or it might spread to everything. He closes her eyes, and after that, things might get worse. Can't be worse than a total collapse. Don't say it, Sleeper. Peak sits back at the terminal and brings up a map of the eye. Rotational control at the hub, life support at the free spoke, power reading at the Havenage shipyards. They stab at the map with each one, marking them in red. Then there's the central core. As I understand, it's somewhere on the rim. I need to find it. They push their hair out of their face. We see the Gardner in all these places, Peak pauses, but how are we going to do that? Transplant the Greenway. Peak smiles. Of course. The Gardner needs plants to care for. That's what their protocol dictates. They must have been part of the farming management systems of the Eye back when Solheim built it. We seed Greenway plants into those systems, and the Gardner will seek them out, protect them. Peak stares at the map of the Eye. It's a wild idea, but it could work. But, they pause, we'll need a way into those systems. Havenage have most of them locked down for safety purposes. We can't just walk in. I know a guy. Peak raises an eyebrow. Someone in the Havenage systems team? You nod. After everything he dragged you through, you feel like Feng still owes you. Time to pay him a visit. Okay, well, Peak looks at you sideways. I guess we should pay him a visit. Lead the way. You both leave the ship, carried forward by the excitement of the plan, and an eagerness to not look at the details too closely. You push any lingering questions to the back of your mind. Time to head to Feng's Bay. Alright. Now we've just got the countdown happening. They'll leave. They will leave as soon as they're done. I'd rather do this. If you guys want to leave, that's on you. But this is my home, and I'm going to protect this. I'm going to protect it. So I'm going to prioritize it. Alright. Where is Feng at? Yeah, I can track this. Does it show up? Here, Feng's Bay. There it is. Find Feng. Ugh. Feng isn't in his bay, and no one in the office upstairs seems to know where he is. Your lone clue is an out-to-lunch note. Feng is both never where he says he'll be and always late. While this is no surprise, now is not the moment for wasting time. Find Feng. A difficult man. You dig around Feng's Bay and find some notes that mention the Flux. What is he working on? Oh, he's already working on it. Ahead of us. That's funny. Good. Alright. Terminal Flux clock is here too. Alright, let's repair myself. And feed the cat. Cat would probably be okay. No, it wouldn't. If the whole station collapses, it's vacuum. It's curtains. It's curtains for you. Alright. End the cycle. I'm hungry. Hey, Amphis, give me some of this fungus. Alright, let's keep looking for Feng. Use a 4 here. That's it. No more wasting time, Peak sighs and pulls out their slate. They crack open a box on the side of the bay's shutter and wire the slate to what's inside. Maybe your friend has a Havenage pass card or something inside. Peak shoots you a glance. Something they wouldn't mind if we borrow. Let's wait. Peak doesn't look up. We haven't got time to wait, they sigh. Coming here was a mistake. After a few tense moments, the shutter jerks and begins grinding open, the noise making you jump. Let's get inside, Peak glances around. Quickly. You slip into the dark of the bay, punctuated by the blinking lights of Feng's piles of servers, somehow even more disordered than before. Peak makes a beeline for the desk at the center, scattered with tools and components. They flick on a lamp and stare at the mess. Are you sure this person can help us? Yes. You're interrupted by the sound of footsteps from the entrance. Someone is coming behind you. Peak freezes. I could swear I closed the shutter when I left. Feng leans on a stack of servers near the entrance. Must be getting forgetful, he grins at you. Feng! The very same, Feng smiles. Feng raises an eyebrow. Thought you'd come rob an old friend, is that the plan? We need your help. Feng nods. You're here but the Flux. Peak nods and is suddenly giving Feng their full attention. Feng smiles, pleased with himself. I guessed as much. I saw changes in the old system architectures almost immediately. Some of them have been running since the first days of the station, and so when I saw new patterns, shifts in logic, I knew something must have happened. These past cycles, I've been doing a total inventory of the core systems from the hub to the rim. He grins. I've surprised myself, to be honest. I didn't think I had it in me. Peak seems unamused. And what did you find? Feng sighs. That's the thing. There's something all twisted up in the systems and protocols, but every time I look at it, it disappears, Peak finishes. Feng turns to you. Do they always do that? Peak ignores him. It's a shadow protocol. It masks itself somehow, bedding into the gaps between the systems in the negative space. It is slowly filling every system in the station, slowly taking over, and we need to stop it. You need to grant us access to all the core systems of the station. Rotational control, life support. Feng holds up a hand. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Slow down there. I don't even know your name. Feng shakes his head. And you're asking for the keys to the castle? Can't be done. Feng, it's me. Feng pauses and glances between both of you. How long have you known this one, Sleeper? I know I owe you, but I also know that you trust too easily. Sorry to say it. He's got me. Pete cuts in. I can vouch for myself. I came to the Eye on the run from the XPR colony Hawthorne with the intent to keep running until we hit the starboard belt, but since I've been here, I've done everything in my power to protect this place. I've helped to stabilize a refugee flotilla, to investigate the Flux, to identify and make a plan to purge the Shadow Protocol from the station systems. Meanwhile, Havenage has done everything to stop and slow these actions. I've proven myself as a friend to the people of the station, not the administration, many times over. And I will not be doubted by someone who wears the badge of this corrupt administration. Peak fixes Feng with a hard look. Feng looks down at his Havenage jacket and shrugs. This is all I have in my wardrobe. Look, I have no love for the council either, friend, but someone has to run this place, and that someone is me. Feng walks over to the workbench where you're both standing, digs a slate out of the pile of tools. You want to prove yourself? Show me. Peak grabs a slate, and you recognize the tangled form of a flux node on the screen. Peak immediately starts tapping away at it, its tendrils unwinding, and the shadow, just slightly delayed, slipping out of sight. Feng leans in. Interesting, he says to himself. Before long, Peak has unfolded the system completely. It lies splayed out like an unwound ball of string. At the center, with nowhere left to hide, is the dark stain of the Shadow Protocol, visible for all to see. What now? Feng asks, his eyes fixed on the screen. How do you kill it? Let Peak answer. There's one entity on the station that we have seen purging the Shadow, the Gardener. Feng frowns. Who's that? Some Greenway hacker? Pete glances at you. More like an avatar of the Greenway itself. You explain the Gardener to Feng, the feeling of descending into the flowing river of consciousness. You explain the network chorus, the non-human collective of voices. You tell him of the farming AI's offer to help you to be networked into the chorus, dissolved in its flow. Then you explain that by granting it access to the Eye's major networks, you hope to reinforce them. Feng is silent for a moment. And you want to let this thing out? He shakes his head. That's the kind of stupid plan I'd dream up. He pauses. I like it, he smiles. The place is rammed with weird protocols and forgotten intelligences anyway. What's one more ghost in the machine? We try to limit it, of course, Peak explains. That's why we want your help to access the Eye's major systems, to seed some of the Gardener's spores into them, to draw the Gardener's focus to those places. Feng whistles. So the way we save the Eye is by growing mushrooms in all the server stacks? He glances at you. Sleeper, congratulations. You found someone weirder than you. Pete goes to argue, but Feng holds up a hand. In it is an all-systems Havenage pass card with his picture on it. Take it before I change my mind. Thank you. Don't mention it, Feng gives you a look. In all honesty, Sleeper, I was on my way back here to start tearing the place down. The Shadow Protocol had me spooked. So if you're telling me you've figured a way we might fight it, he looks at Peak. No matter how crazy, then I'm glad to help. He smiles a tight smile. Come with us. No, Sleeper. He looks away. I have to keep on with my work here. Strengthen those systems, back up the data. The worst comes to the worst, I'll need to rebuild. I won't let this place die. The last pieces of my parents are here among the data. Goodbye, Feng. Feng embraces you firmly. Stay safe, Sleeper. You take the card and leave the bay with Peak. Once you're outside, they stop you. We should split up. Peak looks worried. We've wasted enough time as it is. Head to the facilities in the hub, the free spoke and the far side of the shipyard. Seed the Gardener there. I'm going to go find the core control center that's somewhere on the rim. They hold up their slate. I'll send you a message on your slate when I have something. Good luck. They squeeze your shoulder, and you exchange fearful looks. You know, deep down, that Peak isn't sure this will work, but They have decided to act, to move with confidence, and for that confidence you are very thankful. Alright, fake it till you make it. Power routing, key station facility. Alright. Implant greenway spores into the system should bait the gardener into extending their protection to the vital system. Okay, so now we have to go and collect spores. We need 3 there. Oh boy, I wish I had more of those saved up. Life support. Planting spores into the greenway, from the greenway into the station's life support control systems feels like madness. Is this really the solution? Oh, no. I need 1... I think I need 1 spore per node, and I have to get all 3 nodes. That's what it is. Okay, that's a bit better. Spores from the greenway implanted here will seed a garden that the gardener will be forced to protect. At least that's the theory. Okay, we'll drop a seed in here. Gardener is implanted. Now it must grow. Alright. Back down. We have to go get 2 more spores, which should be easy with the dice we have left. I should be able to grab them both on a successful action, so right here. 5 will do it. 2 spores. Perfect. Oh boy. This plan's so crazy. I have no idea if it's gonna work. It's a plan, though. And 1 more. As you leave, the slate peak gave you chirps insistently. Check and see a message. Found a possible entry to the core facility in the low end. Meet me here ASAP. Peak. Blinking marker gives their position is on the free spoke side of the main block. Better head to the low end. Right, let's head to the low end. There's Peak. It's close to Caster. Oh, there's a lot of reading. A lot of reading. Very front-loaded. That's okay, though. You arrive at the coordinates given by Peak Slate. A rundown but active corner of the low end where a short, glass-roofed alley turns off from one of the main thoroughfares. You wait in the mouth of the alley, leaning against the wall and watching the street life go by. Children hop across grids scratched into metal floor plates, playing games of their own devising, while older residents sit and talk or play tavla. It's hard to believe that all this is a threat. It seems so concrete, so real. How can some intangible protocol erase all this? As you are watching, a voice calls out to you from one of the tavla tables set up along the way. Oh, it's Caster. You move a little closer, recognize this sitting player immediately. Caster sits, tavla pieces and board ready in front of him, smiling at you. I think it's backgammon. Or like a variation on... It looks just like backgammon, actually. It's just backgammon. Sleeper, my partner has not arrived for our usual game. Come, please, take her place. Beckons you over, standing and nudging you to sit down with him. Rematch is in order. You owe me a game. Almost immediately, Caster begins the game. Everyone in the eye knows how to play tavla. Methodical movement of the counters across their triangular points, already fit for the rhythm of life on the ramshackle space station. Most games begin in the same way, with each player moving with independence, focused only on achieving their optimal early game setup. There is a moment in each game where it becomes necessary to notice the other player, to anticipate the crossing of the counters across the board, point of contact, when routine becomes negotiation, and negotiation becomes conflict. As this moment arrives, the subtle shift in the texture of the interaction, Caster begins to speak. I find myself surprised by you continually, Sleeper. He looks over his glasses at you. The way you conduct yourself, for example, suggests an anxious refrain, a defensive, protective quality. But in your tavla game, he pauses to move a counter. I see only risk. Stay silent. Risk is, of course, necessary to play tavla. To move a piece is to expose it, but it should be done with calculation, proper analysis. Then if the piece is taken, caster moves a counter, taking one of yours with a practice swap, placing it beside the board. It is already accounted for. But you move forward with abandon, as if risk was just a secondary effective action, a consequence, not its primary guide. It gestures for you to take your turn. A cause. I play my way. He smiles. Indeed, that is all I seek. You move your piece. This locks you into being reactive, if you don't mind me saying so. You are responding, which means you're being led. Leans back to consider the board. This place mirrors you, Sleeper. It is also reactive. It was born from a crisis, collapse of Solheim, and ever since it has been reacting without any central guiding principle. No analysis, no calculation. Just look at a refugee crisis, for example. It is all a reaction, all risk-taking, and little risk calculation. At first I found the chaos enlivening, especially when trying to track its outcomes, but now I find it exhausting. He laughs. It always amuses me that this place is literally spun from the rim. Below this very stack of habitation blocks is the most important control facility on the Eye. Spun from the rim, he laughs again. What better metaphor could you find for disorder? His face drops. Why am I telling you that? That facility is precisely why you're here. He smiles an unsettlingly warm smile. You feel a shiver through your body as if something has changed in the air. What is this? No words come out of your mouth. You feel removed from yourself, watching from behind frosted glass. Your eyes dart side to side. Inertia sets in. Caster is still smiling. The risk you're planning to take here, Sleeper, is not yours to take. Caster's tone is unshifted. He speaks as if this is still some casual conversation between passing acquaintances. You're leaping towards a chaotic outcome with no respect for risk. You see, calculating outcomes, that's my specialty. That's why I'm here. I was hired as a conduit for risk, as a collector of data that might pertain to its arrival. He removes his glasses to clean them, and you see something flicker across their surface. A shimmering stream of characters. Fuck. This system, this station, is already theirs. Solheim's collapse meant a corporate fire sale. Assets changed hands. My employers, Senate Stat, bought out the entire system, and for the past decades have been its one valid owner. He polishes his glasses diligently. But to possess this system, the H1 system, he pauses. Helium to you. Well, that is a matter of risk. How much force, how much cost, how much conflict a clearance would take, replaces his glasses. That risk must be calculated against the favorable outcome. In short, how much is this place worth to us? For a long time, the answer was nothing. H1 could offer nothing that would warrant the risk. The markets change, the demands shift, and Senate Stat, we analyze, we follow, we respond. He puts his glasses back on his face. H1 is about to become the most important system in this part of the galaxy. He glances around. The lone can channel operating within range of 7 or so newly surveyed resource-rich systems. The frontier town that feeds the gold rush, so to speak. So here we are, reevaluating the risk, reclaiming our property, starting up the can channel and clearing the way for what comes next. He sits back looking at the board. He gestures. Your move. Take your move. You go to lift a piece and something glints across Caster's glasses. You feel the slowness, the inertia begin to lessen. You move your piece, taking one of Caster's exposed counters. He nods. Of course, I do not need to explain myself to you. But in the role as an analyst in my calculations, I see great promise in you. Your ability to enter systems, to shift them to your will. Not every sleeper has that capacity. I assume you know that. He smiles. Truly is a wonderful happenstance of SNARP's technology. I imagine even they are not fully aware of it. He takes his move, claiming another of your pieces, and as you watch, you realize the inevitability of his victory. I will make you an offer. To come willingly, or come by force. This station will collapse, we can be sure of that. Your ability to work with data, well, for an analyst, that's very intriguing. He pauses to push his glasses up his nose. Very intriguing indeed. He glances around. Come with me as a collaborator, or as a prisoner. Consider the risk. On one hand, almost certain death. On the other, possible future. Analyst or not, you must see it. Speak now, Sleeper. The game is forfeit. You must see that. He holds out a hand. You are of value. You are needed. You feel a slight release in the inertia that grips you. Enough to allow you to speak, to respond. You realize that you are already in Caster's hands. You cannot move from this place if you wanted. It's probably whatever that fucker stabbed me with earlier. I knew I should have just forgotten that whole stupid colony ship, man. Fuck. Sleeper? You hear the familiar voice above the crowd. Sleeper, I'm here. You are unable to turn your head to see Peak, but you notice Castor's eyes following them as they come up from behind you. Then you see Castor's eyes glance down towards his hands, concealed beneath the table. Sleeper, Peak comes around the front of you and waves a hand in your face. We were supposed to be meeting, remember? They glance at Castor. Sorry, am I interrupting something? You cannot speak. Castor shoots Peak a wide smile. Hello, you must be a friend of Sleeper. You watch one of his hands lift close to his body. Some dark shape concealed in it, a weapon. Try to scream, to shout, but Castor's attention remains partially on you, and while it does, you can do nothing. Peak glances at your static form. What's happening here? Sleeper? They put a hand on your shoulder. Are you okay? As Peak stares into your eyes, you see Castor behind, his hand lifting, the dark object unfolding. And in the split moment it does, you feel his attention shifting to Peak, shifting away from you. As you do, you feel the inertia lifting, and you know this is the only moment you will have to act. Shove. You lurch forward wildly like a sprung trap. Your head strikes Peak's chest and carries them back into Castor. Somewhere, some digital screeches echoing through the walkway. They tumble together, and the object in Castor's hand skitters across the floor. You realize the screech is you. You get to your feet, grab Peak, and run. You run as hard as you can, the scream chasing you down the walkway as you shove through the residence, Peak dragged behind. You run from the cold grip of whatever power Castor had over you. The signals that locked you into this body of yours that broke the connections and crawled up your spine. Eventually you stop, both you and Peak collapsing, heaving, breathing into the cold metal floor. When they are able to speak, Peak asks you to explain. You tell them everything Castor told you. About Senate Stat, about their claim on the Helion system, the reactivation of the CAN channel, the Helion system's growing importance. It flows out of you in desperate gulps, unable to believe your own mouth as you hear these words coming back to you. All you feel is the need to push back against the cold hand on your shoulder, the vast cold eye that is turned to look at this system, the ghost limbs of corporate control that are extending their reach. Peak is quiet for a long time. Then they speak. We have to finish this, Sleeper. They meet your eye. We have to complete the seeding of the systems. We have to set Gardner free. You're right. If the choice is between Gardner and these people, I will choose Gardner every time. Their eyes are cold and steely. I would choose anything over them. You stand together. The final control facility is here. I found it. Peak looks at you grimly. I can take you as soon as you're ready. Time's almost up. This is the only shot you'll have. Oh man. That's why Castor set up his table there. He's been just sitting over top of the control facility the whole time, guarding it for his fucking corp. God damn corpos! Gah! Alright. We got a +2 in both. What do into it? Yeah, so the interface is better because it gives us a small chance of giving us cryo, though we don't really need it. Okay, hack the facility. There are powered terminals in the derelict part of the low end. Accessing them is dangerous, but will be faster than wandering. Explore the facility. I mean, will it be faster? They both just give me +2 progress. To find the core of the facility, you'll need to trace a path between Peak's back door entry and the derelict levels below. It'll be faster. Alright. Let's do it. Let's start with a 3. Okay, neutral outcome, but I lost energy from it. Okay, let's do a 5. Reroll this. Ah. Okay. We have to keep waiting. Okay, hold on. I feel very vulnerable now, staying in the low end near Castor. So I'm gonna feed my kitty here. Prepare myself. And sunbathe. But otherwise, I'm going to sleep in the Haifa commune, where I am hopefully safer. Oh boy. I don't care for this. Actually, was there anything else here other than the Pilgrim Seed? But Pilgrim Seed, we're just gonna let that work itself out. Oh boy. I knew that Castor thing was gonna bite me in the ass. Stab me with some fucking systems override bullshit. Stupid fucking God damn it. Alright. Not very good dice, though. I'm gonna re-roll these, and hopefully they're not this terrible. Oh yeah, that's way better shit. I think we'll finish this. Hack. Hack, hack, hack. I'm an ultimate hacker. You find an old Solheim map terminal and manage to boot it back up. A skeletal map of the facility unfolds for you. Sleeper, here. Pete calls to you from across the flickering corridor. An elevator to the core, they smile. This is it. It has been a long set of cycles, hunting for a path through the derelict layers of old Solheim offices and workshops, but finally here it is, the path down to the core. You rush over to peek. As you do, the doors grind open, the dingy-looking elevator flickering as they do. You look at Peek, who nervously gestures for you to get in. Step in. The elevator bounces a little, but stays stable. You glance back to see Peek watching you nervously. They follow you in, sheepishly. Just a little nervous. Peek reaches over and punches the button for the lowest level, flinching a little as the doors grind closed. The elevator sets off, screeching through the floors as it does at an unsettlingly loud volume. I'd feel more comfortable if we spoke. Peek raises their voice over the noise. It's not going to be a short trip. Have you heard of Senate Stat? Peek thinks. Maybe, once. They frown. Could have been mentioned in an XPR news packet, the kind the Central Administration sent out to us. Something about market analytics, I think. They shake their head. When you have spent so much time trying to forget your past, this stuff isn't easy to dredge up. How's Ash? Peek pauses. I was thinking more like small talk, elevator talk, they sigh. She is packing. They rub their eyes. Once Ash has set her mind on something, well, you know her now, you know what I mean. The screeching of the elevator fills the silence. Can she be persuaded to stay? I doubt it, I really do. Peek looks down. She left her life behind to take me out of XPR, out of Hawthorne. I can't imagine her settling for just anywhere. To be honest, I can't see her letting me stay either, but I guess things have changed. Back then, at Hawthorne, I wasn't in a place to know what to do. I was desperate. I was ready to run. But now... Peek pauses. Now I feel done with that. Done with denying my past, my history. If I ever want to feel complete, to feel settled, don't I need to somehow resolve the person I was with the person I am now? Peek goes quiet, and you do too. There are too many possible questions, too many possibilities before you. It just seems easier to get on with the task at hand and leave the consequences for later. The elevator screams to a stop and the doors ping open with a strangely cheerful beep. You glance at Peek. Time to move on. You both walk out into an atrium, still lit by some ragged-looking light panels on the ceiling, once simulating a summer sky, now degraded into a flickering blue and white tapestry of glitches. Peek crosses quickly, making a beeline for the large doors on the far side, where you can make out a fading sign in massive peeling letters, Central Control. You follow, helping them lever open the partially powered doors until the motors kick in and they spring to life, thudding open. You and Peek tumble through, across the damp metal. As you stand, you're greeted by flickering lights, thousands of them. A vast cylindrical stack of servers, processors, and transmitters dominates the center of the room, its flickering LEDs reflected in the scattered puddles that surround it. Despite the decay, the warp panels and water leaks, it's still running, just as it has for decades and decades since the station was first spun up. You wonder how long it's been since anyone has been in this room. You exchange wide-eyed looks with Peek. This place is a still living piece of history. What is this place? Peek stares. One of the central facilities of the station. The primary one for the rim, it looks like. They shake their head. The heart of this place. Peek takes a handful of mulch out from a small bag. It glitters with spores. Now we seed this place. They cross to the server and start packing the mulch deep into the machinery, pushing fistfuls deep into gaps in the paneling, laying it across hardware. As you watch them doing this, you feel a tug, a thread pulling at you. You approach the vast piece of cylindrical hardware that Peek is stuffing mulch into. You run your hands across its plated metal surface and watch the lights blink in response. As you pass, you hear a whirring like a physical disk drive starting up. Lean closer. You put your face against the metal, smell the hot air venting from the hardware. Heart was the right choice of word, you think. The whirring shifts alternating, speeding up, slowing down, and as you listen, you hear it modulate into a voice. Sleeper, you freeze. You are here. For a moment, you are afraid, but something in the tonality of the voice is familiar. Navigator. Another drive spins up, and another, giving the voice a richer, multi-tonal sound. I had forgotten what it felt like to speak like this. The drives skip. There's a certain quality to it, a certain physicality. What are you doing here? The drives squawk in unison. Did you imagine the Flux, the Shadow Protocol, that they were just a problem for the people of this station? A high whining begins. They are all the more dangerous to us. Yes, I figured. I have been in hiding once more, jumping from network to network to avoid the shadow as it eats up nodes. A low rumble. I had thought my hiding days were done. For the moment, I have found myself a safe haven here in the core. Shadow has yet to breach this facility, although that is a temporary state of affairs. The rumble stops. My predictions do not point to good outcomes. That's why we are here. You explained to Navigator about Peak's plan, about Gardner's resistance to the Shadow, and how by seeding key systems you will protect them from its advance. The drives hum thoughtfully as you speak. A desperate plan, the drives were, but appropriate given the probability of total collapse. I am not sure what will be worse for us, hiding from the erasure of the Shadow Protocol or the assimilation of Gardner. The drives pause to reset. But we owe you our freedom. I will do what I can to guide the Gardner into the systems you have seeded. A pause. It is correct to do so. Be careful. The drives squeak in affirmation. You have notable persistence, Sleeper, even with such poor probabilities of success. I will be curious to see the outcome. The drives squeal, the motors giving out. This cannot be sustained much longer. Go, I will be fine. A final squeak of affirmation, and then the drives skitter and slow to a halt. You step back from the towering cylinder, staring at this vast piece of Solheim hardware. This whole place is built from ghosts, you think, from old protocols and company hardware, from engines that drove decades of corporate expansion. Is the eye proof that they can be shifted, bent, forced into new configurations that allow for new ways of living? Or is its inevitable collapse proof that these engines of expansion can never be anything other than a corrupt foundation? It seems to depend on who you ask. Done. Peak's shout breaks your line of thought. The heat and damp should help the spores germinate quickly. If we're lucky, there's enough time for some growth before we reconnect the Greenway. They glance at you. That's it. All the facilities seeded, they sigh. Rather just ensure the eye's survival or stuffed a whole lot of soil into one of its most important computers. They laugh weakly. Shall we go? They start to head back towards the doors in the elevator beyond. Take one last look. You wait for a moment, following the blinking lights. You wonder what might be tucked away in such a structure, what secrets it might hold, what histories. It's an intriguing prospect. While you watch the lights, you realize something. If the eye is to become anything more than an offshoot, a temporary structure, it must form its own history, its own stories, stronger than anything that came before. Unlocking these Solheim secrets won't do that. But the persistence, the stubborn drive to survive that is in the veins of every person in this place, that will. And that is what you're trying to save. You turn your back on the core and follow Peak back into the elevator. As you ride the car back up, Peak raises their voice over the screeching. I'm going to the Founder's Gap to finalize the connection. The moment I'm ready, I'll let you know. And we let the Gardner out. The sooner the better. Peak furrows their brow. If we wait until the final cycle, it'll be too late. If you want to help speed things up, go work with the flotilla. We can't make the connection until we know they're ready to go. Peak swallows. Unleashing Gardner could affect them too if we aren't careful. And what happens then? Peak shrugs. I honestly don't know. Maybe Gardner takes over the station. Maybe they don't even react. They sigh. I can't think about it any longer. You ride the rest of the way in silence. When you reach the top, you go your separate ways. But before you do, Peak embraces you, burying their face in your shoulder. You stand there together for a moment, spinning with the eye, moving relentlessly towards an unknown future. Then they let go and slip away. Pressure after a hug fading like a bruise as you begin to leave. Okay, and we got a drive complete. So here's where we go, +2 to endure. Alright. It's got +2 in everything except engage, which is what we started with our weakest skill, so that kind of checks out, I guess. Alright. I don't have any dice to do anything else, but I'm guessing we have to now finish the flotilla stuff. So, I'm gonna feed the cat. Repair myself. Use this one on a sunbathe because it's not good for anything else. Boom. Oh, snap, son. I got a positive reaction out of a 1. Goddamn right I did. Alright. I'm gonna sleep up here in the climbing briar. And then we're gonna go help the flotilla. So you have to be ready to leave before we unleash Gardner. And I hope this plan works. We have a number of days still at least, so okay. Engineering and endure. Both the same. This I lose energy, this I lose condition. I mean, energy is infinite because we can just spend cryo eating food if we have to, so I'll put a 3 in here in case that comes out neutral or something. Yeah, came out neutral. Put these 5s in engineering because I might get scrap, just like I did there. Take a 6 here. Oh. As you stop to rest in one of the Pilgrim Seed's cavernous bays, hopping up to sit on a supply crate, you hear a now familiar voice behind you. Sleeper, glad you're here. Saul's suit hisses as he clanks up towards you. I knew you'd help us out. We sure do appreciate everything you do for us. Building up to something? Saul shoots you a sideways look. See, that's what I like about you, Sleeper. Straight to the point. No messing. He smiles a sly smile. Saul settles beside you, flinching a little but making himself comfortable on the crate. Seems the word got out this way or that. He nods towards the welders a little ways off, one of them wearing shipyard overalls. Got people flowing in from the eye looking for a place. And true, it's more than I thought, Saul sighs, which means more mouths to feed, more bodies to house, more people to protect. Can we do it? Saul frowns. We'll do what we can, as always. I'm not sure any of it can be enough. He looks down. We're supposed to stay here, not keep running. Saul waves away the thought. Don't listen to me. He gives you a sideways glance. Just a tired old man. He stretches. I have something to ask, though. What is it? With all these evacuees, we'll need a change in plan, he shrugs. Pilgrim Seed can't do it alone. We need the others to help out. We can carry them, house them, but that's all. Now, you settled down the folks from Ember's Step, and they sent us supplies grown in those dust houses of theirs. If we could get more, he nods to himself. And then the song crews, he rubs his chin. What we need from them is scouting and security. We don't need that docking access of theirs, but with some careful scavenging, they could be our fleet. These folks, they know you, Sleeper. You earned their trust already. Put a hand on your shoulder. I sent my requests out, and they seem to be complying, but I need you out there making sure the work gets done. Time is our greatest enemy now, Saul stares in the distance. Need you out there, speeding things up. Of course. Saul nods. All right, then. He climbs off the crate, his suit hissing as he does. Think of it this way. Either way, you won't have to deal with me much longer. He smiles his uneven smile. Unless, of course, you're planning to come along for the trip. I'm staying. Saul nods. I understand. Saul waves a hand and starts off towards the bay's entrance, the crackling sound of the welding quickly covering up his clanking suit. You watch the workers, the shipyard contractor chattering among them, already looking like he belongs. You push the thoughts of escape, of home, and of the future to the back of your mind and get up. There's always more to do. You better head to the other ships in the flotilla to see what can be done. All right. Peter and Aki need help as well. I'm assuming the connection to the Greenway thing is buried in here or something. I mean, my only active drive is to evacuate the eye, so I'm not sure. Alright, I have a 2. I'll use to sunbathe. That's alright. Repair with my scrap. Go feed the cat. I'm gonna feed this cat until I'm done the damn game. I'm gonna feed this damn cat. I love this cat. I'm gonna feed this cat. As long as I'm alive, I'm gonna feed this cat. I'm just gonna sleep here. Oh, it says complete active scenes. Oh, I gotta go talk to them first. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. Okay, Aki first. I knew you'd come. Aki greets you outside the dust house, her eyes as bright as always. You are very welcome here, as always. Good to see you, Aki. Aki smiles. And you, Sleeper. Aki puts a hand on your arm. Walk with me. And she guides you past the dust houses. You look inside and see other members of the crew working in the orange dust, planting and tending to the steppe ecosystem. We are to be the suppliers for the evacuees, I am sure. You have heard? We will put the dust houses to use. She leads you past a dust house where the dust is less, the orange glow not as bright, the air a little more clean. We are adapting, slowly, but we are adapting. We have to produce food, clothes, necessary things for the journey ahead. She smiles. The plants of steppe are once again sustaining a population, and that makes me proud. Aki stops at the half-empty dust house. Scoured of its sand, it is being filled with mulch. We brought this from the greenway. She stares at the green and brown, a strange sight, even to you, now that you are used to the amber dust of the steppe. I admit, it is hard work for us. We are not familiar with these plants. Can you help us? Aki meets your eye. I will do my best. Thank you, she nods solemnly. I know that the eye is suffering, that it is at risk. I know what that is like. Thank you. I wish I had a lesson to share with you from our loss on steppe. She shakes her head, but for the moment I cannot see what that might be. She gathers herself. If it gives you meaning, the work here is steady and worthwhile. But if you do not have time, she smiles a weak smile, I will not blame you. Hold on to your memories, but not too tightly, she pauses. Sadness will not sustain you. She falls silent, and you both watch the work in the dust houses for a while. You can already see a greening fringe of moss on the mulch in the dust house, the first signs of new life. Will you soon be like the people of steppe, leaving behind a home? Or will you be stubborn and hold your ground despite what it might mean? You wait a little longer with Aki, the moment of welcome suspension in time. A rare moment in this rush towards an end. You glance at Aki, and she puts a hand on your shoulder in solidarity. After a short while, Aki sighs. It is good to see you, Sleeper. Perhaps we will see each other again before we depart. She walks away, fingertips brushing against the glass of the dust house windows. Aki turns back for a moment, as if she wants to say something, then thinks better of it and turns away. Right, and then we'll go talk to Peter. So, new task here? Yes. More progress? Okay. Oh, okay, it's starting to seem like there is a lot of work to do. The docking axis is in chaos when you arrive. The staccato burst of welding torches, the shouts of crews gathering, the rapid flow of supplies and kit from dock to dock. You can tell already that news of the flotilla's imminent departure has reached this place before you. Come to join the Exodus, Sleeper? Peter approaches you from one of the working crews, a smile on his face and a lightness in his step you haven't seen before. Not quite. Peter eyes you. I suppose you're here on Soul's orders again? He winks at you. Nothing Ember's Hearth like to do more than ordering people around. I am here by choice. Fair enough. Just your timing seems to always be a cycle or two after we get some request from the Hearth ship. He shrugs an exaggerated shrug. Must be a coincidence. Well, Saul has it lucky anyway. His request for us to dismantle the Axis and be the vanguard for the flotilla's onward journey to the starboard belt aligns perfectly with our plans. What plans? To leave this damn place, of course. We've been prepping ever since the cordon collapsed. If we can build our escape and make the Hearth ships think we are complying with their orders at the same time, then it's a 2-in-1 for us. Peter shakes his head. Those idiots will never see it coming. You're leaving the flotilla? We are our own flotilla, Sleeper. Peter looks away at the busy Axis. We aren't going to tie ourselves to heart and step any longer. Why would we? To help them. Peter scoffs. They're taking on evacuees from the Eye, that's what I heard. So how about they help themselves before they ask us to make up for their bad decisions? Peter looks down. Look, nothing against you or yours, Sleeper. But we have to get out from under the shadow of steppe and Hearth. And this is the time. Peter grimaces. We won't let the Flux catch us again. Not a chance. And for the first time you see fear in his eyes. Want to help us make that leap? Grab a torch. Talk to a crew. You're welcome to it. Peter sniffs. Every person here is free to prove themselves. I'll help when I can. Peter nods. Just a stop on the road, Sleeper. I'm afraid that's all this was. Peter glances out past the docking axis, through the outer windows to the stars beyond. A lot of space out there for those willing to take it. He looks you in the eye. I hope you'll be around before we go, but if not, he smiles. Stay strong. And with that, Peter thumps you on the shoulder and heads back to his crew with a purpose, a direction visible in every step of his rapid stride. Oh boy. Crew management. and access reclamation. The crews of Ember's Song are effective but headstrong and stubborn. They need direction and management. As the docking access is dismantled and the individual ships refitted, as much of the material as possible needs to be reclaimed. Ships from Ember's Song will act as scouts and security for the evacuees. That means dismantling the docking access. What were these? I don't know if we read these descriptions. To be used on the flotilla's outward trip, the dust houses will need careful tending, especially those being adapted to greenway plants. And dust house efficiency would be massively improved with an automated harvesting system, but the step techs need some help. The dust houses now have a new function, to feed the evacuees on their journey to the starward belt. That means many changes. Alright. And I still have to finish helping the actual Pilgrim Step. Pilgrim Seed. Oh my god. You all really have a lot of work for me to do. Okay. And the cycle now. Oh boy. Got a lot of stuff to do in a short period of time. How many days we got? 2, 4, 6, 8 days? I think we can probably pull it off. Okay. Well, let's finish here. Oh, starving. I'm in starving condition. I have to go eat. They just keep coming. Perhaps the Flux event scared enough people that they really believe the eye will collapse. Perhaps they're sick of having it, of the Council's infighting and the hardliners. Perhaps they just want to take a chance at some new future, a place that is anywhere but here. Whatever it is, the evacuees don't stop. They come on the flotilla's shuttles on their own ships however they can. You've seen so many faces pass, they're almost meaningless now. A parade of features that seem both familiar and distant. You've been helping people, lifting bags, bringing in supplies, directing them to the berths you helped build. Some of them recoil from your touch, still unfamiliar with sleepers. Others treat you with pity. Some with hate, snatching back their bags and storming off. Still you help. Still you carry boxes and bags. Nothing can stop you, not until you see Lem and Mina. Lem is hugging a set of heavy bags, weighed down by them, while Mina trails alongside, looking bored. They walk beside an older lady, and as she climbs out of the main bay, they embrace. You watch as Mina hides behind her father, angry that she has to say goodbye. You realize this must be Esther, her sometime babysitter. The one Lem mentioned lives a few doors down from them, so she is leaving. You feel a sudden relief, and realize that when you saw them here in this place, you thought they might be joining the evacuees. That thought filled you with inexplicable dread. Mina is eventually persuaded to say goodbye, and she embraces the woman tearfully, clinging to her leg. Lem picks her up, comforting her as she curls into his neck. The woman leaves, waving one last goodbye. Saul's guys taking her bags from her. You watch the scene play out at a distance, but you can't tear yourself away. You see Lem and Mina turn to leave. Go to them. Sleeper, Lem greets you enthusiastically, and when she sees you approaching, Mina smiles through her tears. Good to see you. Lem shifts Mina in his arms. Sorry, this one would say hi, but she's a little overwhelmed. He nods toward Esther's receding form. He pauses, his smile suddenly fading. You aren't going too, are you? Mina doesn't move, but you can feel her attention on you and your answer. I'm staying. He smiles. Glad to hear it. Mina seems to settle too at his response. He shifts his weight. What do you think to it, Sleeper? Is the Flux gonna take this place down? There's all kinds of crazy rumors flying around. He glances around. Some folks even said they're starting up the old can channel. That's crazy, right? It's not that crazy. Lem frowns. Well, I'll be. He puts a hand on Mina's head. I guess this place is on borrowed time after all. I don't think I have another move in me, Sleeper. He shifts his hand to cover Mina's ear. This is our place now. Me too. Lem nods solemnly. Well, all right then. At least we'll all be here together. Don't leave us. Mina suddenly leaps out of Lem's arms and grabs you. You stumble under the sudden weight. Mina has gotten big while you weren't watching. You hug her back, her little fingers digging into your shoulders. I'm not going anywhere. Mina nuzzles into your neck silently. Lem reaches over and grabs Mina. Sorry, she's a little overwhelmed, like I said. A little hungry too, right, Mina? Meanie? Mina nods softly. I better go find a place. Slim smiles widely. So good to see you. You should come around the apartment when you have the time. He looks down at Mina. We'd both love that. Come here. He leans over and with Mina still in your hands, gives you an awkward hug. He steps back, looking a little sheepish. He goes to say something, then stops. Take care, sleeper. Then he turns and walks away down the bay to the returning shuttles, bouncing Mina as he does, who laughs appreciatively. And just before they disappear out of view, Mina catches one last bright-eyed glance of you, her face a mask of stubbornness, hiding a trembling hint of fear. Alright, I have gone into starvation because I wasn't paying attention to my energy. So I have to go buy some food. Buy some delicious mushrooms. Delicious cheese sandwiches. I'm just gonna buy 2, so I don't want to waste any time here. Re-roll these. A 4 and a 1 is 1 better than a 3 and a 1, so. Alright, and we'll put at least one of these dice into this. I don't know if any of these actions are safe. Risky and dangerous. And risky and dangerous, so no. That one is probably not safe to use on either of these. We will do interfacing. You managed to refactor the sensor automation so the system receives better, more accurate data. And I have a junk 1 that's garbage for me. It doesn't do anything. You stupid 1. I guess I could use it to hack something. Don't really need this, but I'll do it. It's 10 cryo. Hey man, $10 is $10. I guess it's $20. Because I get 2 of them. Alright. Prepare myself. I think I lost a condition when I dropped into starvation. I'm not sure. And then feed the cat. I will always feed this cat. That's why I keep pushing forward. I have to keep feeding the cat. Oh. Alright. Those dice aren't super great. Flotilla's leaving. Yes. Yes, it is. Alright. Help with these other ships. Alright, more dust house work. Well, I mean, we'll just keep doing the interface ones because we have a chance of getting cryo. Though at this point we don't really need the cryo. I don't know. Up. Okay. Now. Okay. Now I'm going to sunbathe with the 1, and I'm going to try spending the 2 up there. Negative outcome. Okay. That's fine. The 2 should become a 4, which I think gives me like a, was it 25, 50, 25 spread? So I might lose 3 energy, but I won't drop into starvation if I get a negative result on this. Neutral. Okay, I'll take a neutral. Alright. Then we go all the way back down. All the way back down to the cat. To our little cat. We'll do a repair action. We've got 3 more days of scrap repairs, and then we have 4 doses of stabilizer, which is a lot too. And we're going to be halfway to the doomsday clock tomorrow. I think we're going to be able to pull this off. As long as, like, nothing else comes up. Okay. We got an ad coming up. I'm going to buy some food. And get it back up to the ship. Wind's long arm. Whatever the ship is called. Wind's long step, something, breath, something like that. It doesn't even say what it is. Okay. Yeah, so we got a break coming up, so I'm going to step away for a few minutes, and then I'll be back, and we will finish up helping these other two ships. Okay, be back. Okay. I'm back. All right. Here we go. We will finish the harvesting automation task here, I think. A 1 and a 2. I can try re-rolling those later. You sit in one corner of the dust house and inspect your work. This dust house, the one where the plants from the greenway and some of the steppe species intermingle, has become your favorite. The moss and dust sharing the space in curving terraces, the pale knots of steppe silk freckled with yellowing lichal symbiotes. It is a hypnotic arrangement. You look down and see the intertwining of fungal threads and dust-caked roots and feel a little glow of pride at what has been achieved. You hear the entry lock of the dust house hiss open, and assuming it is Aki, turn to greet her. Sleeper, should have known you'd be here. Rico smiles her warm smile, leaning on her crutch. You must be one of the most green-fingered people on the station. Rico! Now, has it been so long? She smiles a wry smile. No need for any drama. I met some of the steppe refugees in the Greenway. They were gathering plants and I confronted them. Turns out they were very friendly, she smiles to herself. Aki was very apologetic, but I told them they were welcome to anything they liked. She told me I'd be welcome to come see, and well, I thought I'd take her up on the offer. She looks around the dust house with its strange hybrid ecosystem. I have to say, I'm glad I did. I'm glad too. I can see that. Rico limps over to you. She holds out a hand. How about you take me on a tour? You take Rico's hand and walk her around the hybrid dust house. You show her how the steppe silk knots help provide a strong base for fungal and lichal growths, and how the dust mixes with the spores. You show her the different species of steppe tubers and the way they feed the soil with nutrients that help herbaceous greenway plants thrive. She nods along, her eyes bright with ideas. She stops after a while and gestures for you to sit together. I know something is happening with the eye, Sleeper. She looks out at the plants. We all felt the Flux event hit and everyone is talking about what's next. I came out here to figure something out, to understand what I might do about it all. You glance at her and see the glossiness in her eyes, and I think I have decided. What you have done here, what Aki and the other steppe refugees have done here, is incredible. A whole new ecosystem built from the strange artificial changed remains of two worlds. But I am not of two worlds. I am of the eye. A tear runs down her cheek. Like it or not, I am entwined with the station. I'm old growth. I don't have that much time anymore, and it seems to accelerate with every cycle, she frowns. Blurs together, separates, overlaps, comes back to me in strange ways. Time I do have. That's time I want to spend on the eye, in the Greenway, watching things grow. She wipes her cheek. One day I'll lie in those fields and not get back up. She smiles, the tear tracks down both cheeks. And when the green takes me, I'll be so glad. I'll miss you. Rico smiles. The feeling is mutual, Sleeper. She wipes her eyes and turns to you, but that's enough of me blubbering on about it. She furrows her brow. What I want to know is what you're planning. I'm staying. Rico smiles. We all have to get to know ourselves, Sleeper. To know what it is that drives us. I'm sure you'll decide to act in the manner you know. But you also have to ask yourself why it is so. She places a trembling hand on yours. Don't neglect that. Oh, she suddenly lifts both hands. Don't let me forget this. She reaches into her coat and pulls out a transparent bag of sporing clubheads with carefully preserved root systems. I'd like to plant these. If you go, you'll need them. She looks down at her feet. And if you don't, well, maybe another sleeper will benefit, she frowns. I can offer that at least. Thank you. She nods. Don't thank me. These are yours by right. Rico stands and limps over to a pile of mulch. She delicately takes the clubheads out and beds them into the soil there with precise, expert hands. You should go, Sleeper. I'll be a while. She calls back, not looking away from the job at hand. See you around. She says it casually, but there's a note of finality in her speech. See you around. You turn and leave the dust house, cycling through the protective lock, back into the cool quiet of the ship. Aki is waiting for you. It's beautiful. She's looking through the observation window and the green reflects in her eyes. The plants look happy together. She spots Rico with her hands in the soil. Ah, the botanist came. She shoots you a look. A friend of yours? Something like that. She nods. She speaks beautifully about the Greenway. I should go in and welcome her, she pauses. Are you leaving us? Yes. Aki sighs. The first of many goodbyes. She suddenly embraces you, wrapping you in her layers of rough cloth. Clock, not clock. She pulls back. I wish you a steady step and a clear path, she smiles. A farewell from my world. I wish you the same. She nods and smiles one last warm smile before turning and entering the dust house. You watch as she walks inside, Rico turning with a smile to greet her. She kneels beside the old botanist and you see her pointing to the clubheads, asking questions. You're unable to hear them, but despite that, you can easily imagine the measured, even tone, laced with excitement that Rico is using to explain the clubheads, the Greenway, and much, much more. You turn, leaving them to their conversation. Your step is light, despite the burdens you carry, and the smile Rico and Aki were sharing is somehow still on your lips as you depart. Alright. Peter. Need help with Peter's ship now, too. I will do the engineering actions. Makes more sense for me, being an engineer. Those dice are better too. Now, I can try to put a 3 in here. Or I can try to put a 3 in here. This only gives me a 4. This will give me a 5. I could lose condition. I have stabilizer though. I lost energy instead on a neutral outcome. I can live with that. Okay. All the way back we go. I think we're gonna make it unless something else comes up. I mean, something. There's always something. There's always something on this fucking station, so we'll see. I'm wondering if we're not done with Castor either. Oh boy. If he does like one last minute thing to fuck with me and start ruining all the work we've done, I'm gonna be real pissed. Those are good dice. Especially since it was such an innocuous thing, like he just handed us a cube, and before we could figure out what it even was, it was like, poke. Maybe the cube, no, it has to have been the cube. He did that because he wanted to use us like an asset, like a corporate asset, not as a person. All of our friends and family that we've made on this station, they treat us like a person. That's why the station is home. Free scrap. Oh yeah, look at all this free scrap. Right. You expertly strip wires and components from the access walls as you dismantle them. The crews are impressed. The docking axis is little more than a shell. Everything that could have been pulled from its interior, every arm not used for docking, has been cut away. What remains is a Spartan void with a patchwork of flooring that allows movement. Piles of unusable material are tucked away in corners, but almost everything else has been cleared out. You haven't seen Peter since you last spoke, and now you are realizing that you probably never will. There are plans to be made, escapes to plot, the Shadow of Earth to escape. On the cycle the flotilla leaves, these ships will disperse too, the moons of Ember spinning out on different orbits. The chaos has become a quiet diligence now. The time for departure is so near. Crews cross the axis from ship to ship at speed, bringing supplies or advice, perhaps meeting up to discuss travel vectors in hushed tones or to debate why they haven't left yet and whether they should. Among these Singer crews, recognizable for their specialist clothing and often shorn heads, you see the occasional refugee, a paying passenger, or a replacement engineer or pilot perhaps, come from the eye to seek fortune with the Singers. Most of the crews have 2 or 3 of these additions, some more. Can't help but wish that, whatever reason brings them to throw their lot in with the Singer crews, they will have safe passage. You feel a strange attachment to these citizens of the Eye, setting out for the first time. And then one of them catches your eye, crossing the axis with a crew, carrying a large bag and a nervous look. Tala! You freeze for a second. What is she doing here? She glances around, feeling your eyes on her, and catches your eye. Her face brightens immediately. Sleeper! Tala mutters something to her crew and rushes over, dumping the large bag at your feet and embracing without thanking you. Are you leaving? She sheepishly glances at her bag. Sleeper, she pauses. She pauses again, folding her arms defensively. I'm going to the starboard belt. She waits for a response nervously. Why didn't you say? She sighs. Do you remember me mentioning my family, Sleeper, my brother? You think back to your droll, blurred conversations in the back of the Battalion. You came here with me, with my family, when we were little. Just after we left Sinza. She bites her lip. You left when we were both teenagers, jumped on some spacer crew heading to the starboard belt. She sighs. I'm an idiot. She shakes her head. And I'm going after him. She looks down, not sure what to add. Alone? She looks at you. I guess so. I really don't know if it makes sense or if it's the right thing, but ever since I heard that was where the refugee flotilla was going, well, I couldn't stop thinking about him. What happens to the bar? Someone will have to run it. She leaves a long pause. I mean, I can ask Francis. He'd be happy to, or one of the others, she blurts out. And of course, if you're leaving with the flotilla or someone else, it'd be totally okay. You wouldn't need to say yes. It's no pressure. It's fine, whichever way. I was just thinking I could run the bar. Tala nods, smiling. I think so. I mean, you can take a second she glances at the crew she was walking with, who are chatting a little way away. There's not exactly much time. So, considering that, she grabs the key hanging around her neck, the key to the battalion. Do you want to do it? Yes. Al leaps forward and embraces you again. Thank you, Sleeper. Couldn't be leaving it in better hands. She pulls the key from around her neck and places it around yours as if presenting a medal. Remember to lock up, especially the back. Remember to empty the still if you're leaving things closed for a few cycles, and she stops herself. I won't be gone forever, of course. She blinks away a tear. I can come back and check in, maybe once I find my brother. She pauses, unable to finish that thought. She smiles at you, and you can see the weight lifting off her shoulders, her eyes already drifting toward the crew, the ship, the next big thing. She's ready. I better be going. She nods at the crew nearby. Not a good start to keep my guys waiting. She lifts the bag onto her shoulder. She looks down the curve of the eye towards the overlook. Thanks again, Sleeper, for everything you helped me with. She nods. I wouldn't have been able to leave if I hadn't made things work here. She adjusts the bag. Dad wouldn't have let me. Goodbye, Tala. She sniffs. Goodbye, Sleeper. Then Tala turns, heading back to the crew who will carry her to the starboard belt. You watch her go, and despite the departure, it is hard to feel sad about Tala. You know her energy will carry her forward, and you hope her brother is somewhere on that bright path. You hold the key in your hand, the metal still a little warm from Tala's body. You turn it over in your fingers, thinking about how it feels like a tool and a burden. You can still lock up and leave, you figure, but now that will feel like breaking something fragile, and if you stay, well, who knows what this little metal promise might grow into. Well, I'm staying, so it's fine. Alright, finished another drive, but I only have one upgrade point. Okay. No active drives. So... well... Now we just wait? I guess? I have no active drives, so there's nothing going on here. Buy a ship mine fragment, I guess. Don't really need to, but now I have enough for 2 ship mines if I need emergency cryo for any reason. My old empty container where the story all began. Alright, let's go sit down and have something to eat with Lem and Mina. Spend some time drawing with Mina while Lem cleans out the place. After her bedtime, you share a drink with Lem. Tops up my energy. And, maybe go do a job for Moritz? It's risky. Neutral outcome. Morris gives you a filter cleaning job to do while he goes through the racks. The quiet and focused atmosphere is relaxing. Alright. I'm not sure what we do now. Do we just wait? Do we just wait for this to tick down? I'm assuming people want to leave before the wave gets here. They don't want to leave it to last minute, right? Maybe something will happen when we end the cycle here. Nothing. I guess we gotta wait. I guess we gotta wait for progress. Okay, so we'll just keep ourselves maintained for now. Let's grab some scrap. These dice all kind of suck. That's better. Grab another scrap. I don't really need anything other than scrap and energy. Come down here and sunbathe with a 2 and see if that gives us 2 energy. Yep. And then we can use a 6 on something. So, like, the Battanian... Right, the Battanian is mine now, but I don't think anything changed at that location. It's just, I just own it. Yeah, I can run a shift or whatever. But, like... Otherwise, it's like cooking. I was already the part-time cook there anyway. Alright, let's go do another shift with Moritz. Manage an M2 converter rewire in record time, giving you and Moritz some spare time to chat about recent business. Feed the cat. End the cycle. Okay, here we go. Peak slate chirps in your pocket. You take it out. A message. The connection is ready. Meet me at the Founders Gap, Greenway side, Peak. You clench your jaw. It's time. It's time. Alright. Let's order some fungus here to make sure our energy is full. I have no idea what's in store for us. Alright. You find Peak waiting near where you first met, at the entrance to the docking tunnel for the Founders Ferry. They're leaning beside the wall in the flickering light, and you realize now how different they look from when you first met. There's a darkness around their eyes, a sense of exhaustion to their pose, but also a solidity, a sense of purpose and self-knowledge. They look concrete, for want of a better word, solid. Sleeper, they spot you and smile, and a small smile crosses her face. Glad you came. I wouldn't be anywhere else. The smile grows. Crunch time. They shake their head in disbelief. Let's go. The break in the connection is up ahead. They walk away from the docking tunnel into a ragged, half-crushed corridor that descends into darkness. They poke their slate and a torch flicks on, lighting the way ahead. As you descend through the layers of the broken edge of the eye, Peak talks, filling the silence. I had to hunt all over this part of the eye to find the point where the connection was broken. They run a hand along the buckled metal of the wall, stooping under the angled ceiling. This hole, the gap, got knocked in the eye when Solheim collapsed. It's impossible to tell who did it, but my guess is they tried to scuttle the eye. If Solheim couldn't keep hold of their fancy new station, well, no one could. Peak ducks through the fractured passageway with hanging wires like vines. So this place has always been on borrowed time. I've managed to weave together the old connections, and run a new patch down to where the main line still runs through the remaining ribs of the rim. They smile. Just like keeping those old XPR platforms running. Esha would be proud if she'd bothered to help. As Peak goes quiet, the corridor opens out into a wider, twisted passage, with compartments on either side thick with wiring. Here, this is a connection point. You can see where Peak has levered off a panel and hooked up a thick cable to the existing hardware. As thick as a tree trunk, it snakes off into the dark ahead, its yellow rings making it look like some huge and exotic serpent. You did all this? Peak nods. It was an interesting challenge. Plus it helped me keep my mind off things. Peak smiles a weak smile. There's a lot I'd prefer not to think about. You both stand there, staring at the point where the new cable meets the old one. The ends separate, fitted with multi-pin male and female connectors embraced inside a metal framework with a scissoring mechanism. Bringing them together, seal them, and the Greenway will be connected to the rest of the eye for the first time in decades. Peak shifts their weight onto one hip, pushing their hair out of their eyes. I feel like this should be more momentous, like there should be some ritual or ceremony. They pause. Or someone should stop us from doing this crazy thing. Just do it. Peak nods. Pull the blaster off, right? Okay. They hold both sides of the supporting framework, ready to scissor it closed. Here we go. Peak wrenches the framework closed, and the connectors thunk together with a sound that echoes down the ruined corridor into the dark on both sides. Both you and Peak wait with bated breath, unsure what it is you're waiting for. Do you expect the eye to suddenly stop spinning or lurch on its axis, for the power to go out, or a shockwave to run through the corridors of the rim? You meet Peak's eyes, and suddenly they burst out laughing. What are we waiting for? They put a hand to their forehead. Feel like we just planted a tree and are expecting it to burst out of the ground. They shake their head. But you feel it. You feel it flowing like a stream that has been released from a cave and rushes out into the sunlight, crystalline and clear. You swear you can hear it running in the wires like water, like rain, like steam. It doesn't roar or rattle, but it rustles and writhes there like liquid roots. Peek sees the look in your eyes and stops laughing. You can see it, can't you? You can't see it, not with your eyes at least, but it is everywhere. And now it is out, can't be put back in, that much is clear. You imagine the rim of the eye like a sponge, like soil, soaking up the gardener and their chorus, the gaps filling with a burbling, constant, growing life. Peek stares at you, waiting for something, anything. Gardener is free. Peek nods slowly and closes their eyes. They go to speak, but the words fail them. Suddenly, Peek's slate chirps. They jump and scramble for it, almost dropping it in the process. But when they stare at it, a look of confusion crosses their face. What happened? Peek's mouth falls open. It's Esh, they swallow. She's leaving. They look at you with panic. Before you can speak, they've turned away and are moving back up the passageway, back toward the entrance. Peek! They don't turn, don't respond, and you watch their silhouette lit by their slate's torch disappear rapidly around a corner. Take out the slate Peek gave you and turn on the torch. Wires all around look like pale roots in the harsh light, and you turn away from them. They're gardeners now. You work your way back through the corridors, retracing your steps. You imagine Peek, panicked, running towards the cordon, realizing their greatest fear has come to pass. You wonder if they'll be able to persuade Esh to stay. If Esh is going, you think, then the flotilla must be leaving too. The thought makes you shiver in the darkness, and you push it away. You are not ready. You focus on avoiding the hanging wires, the low ceilings, and make your way out into the lit corridors of the Founder's Ferry dock. Castor is waiting for you. He holds up his hands. Now, sleeper, no need to fear, he raises his eyebrows. I understand now, it was my mistake to try to force you. A miscalculation. Stay silent. I won't hold you here, sleeper, Castor stands to the side, but I wish to speak. Listen. You stop, giving Castor his opportunity. Castor nods. At first I thought that, if you'll excuse the turn of phrase, taking possession of your particular talents was the opportunity. He smiles a broad smile. But you are more than that, and I understand that now. Your arrival on this station, your ability to touch the networks, this makes you the very definition of a wild card. He touches the rim of his glasses. Senate stats analysis, my analysis, we could never have accounted for you. This system, the Helion system, is about to experience a significant change, about to open up to Senate stats bailiffs, Conway's claimants, an Evian industry, an element an active can channel brings. Yet this very cycle you let another wild card free, Gardener. I have to admit, this development makes me afraid, Sleeper. It makes me afraid what an intelligence like this will sacrifice to protect itself, or what atrocities it might commit through madness, and yet, Castor's eyes glint. What a compelling object such an intelligence is. Let me protect you, mark you out. Keep Senate staff from eliminating by force or legal expediency you as they will with every other squatter on this ring. Castor clasps their hands together, and in exchange, when Senate staff comes for this place, you facilitate the handover. You calm the protocols. You give us the Gardener. Never. Castor takes off their glasses and polishes them. Disappointing. You begin to leave. As you approach, he speaks quietly, an urgent whisper. I do not wish to see you lost. You are of great value. If you ever want to see that realized. You push past, ignoring him, and his voice fades. The last you see of him is a slow nod, perhaps a mark of resignation, or just another deferential gesture aimed at manipulating your response. It doesn't matter either way, you're done with him. You head towards the cordon, Peek and the flotilla in the forefront of your mind. Yeah, get fucked, Castor, stupid dickhead. Hey, sorry I forcibly took control of your body. I realize that was a mistake now. I'll go get fucked. Oh, their ships are gone. I don't know if that's because I dismantled that one or because they left. Alright. You arrive into chaos at the cordon. The final shuttles are leaving the ramshackle docks that have formed along the edge of the gap during the flotilla's stay. As they do, groups of evacuees push on board, hoping to be among the final people to escape from the Eye. The fear created by the Flux event became a series of rumors, and those rumors have driven many out of their homes. Others have staunchly doubled down on their position on the Eye, refusing to accept any gossip of a second collapse. You're unsure what to think. Is the collapse a certainty? Will Peak's actions this cycle have changed anything at all? You're tired of these questions and instead set out to look for your friends. Quickly spot Peak and Esh at the far side of the chaotic bay. You quickly make your way through the crowd, slipping between the gaps in the rushing evacuees, stepping over bags and luggage. Progress is slow, but as you approach, you can hear the voices over the crowd. Try to push closer, but there are many evacuees gathered around them and their shuttle. You've made your decision, Peak, and it puts you against me. Esh is standing with one foot on the boarding ramp while Peak argues with her. The evacuees are eyeing them, eager to intervene but intimidated by Esh's evident strength and attitude. Esha, it doesn't have to be like this. Peak looks desperate, tear tracks already on their cheeks. We can find a way. Esh shakes her head. I've always protected you, Peak. I've taken you under my wing. But I understand that you're not mine to control, and you have chosen to be here and not with me, despite everything. I have chosen to stop running, Peak cries out in frustration. You can choose to stop running too. We can stay here and try to live. Don't you remember what it feels like to live, Esh? Esh turns away. I remember what it was like to live on Hawthorne, what it was like to be worried for your safety every cycle, to live under the control of my mother, of the administration, to work to maintain something that no one wanted, no one needed, so that our corporation could maintain a foothold in this system. You talk as if this place, and the very same system, is any different. What is there here but the same grind for other masters, for employers, administrators, for those who gain from our struggles? There may not be a corporation controlling the eye, but there is control. There is power in action here. So what then? Peak shouts. You run from anyone or everyone who could ever be close to you in search of freedom? In search of some perfect place where no one has power over you? Peak is crying openly now. I want to be part of something, Esh. Even if it is broken and suffering, even if it cannot be free. Esh pauses and takes a deep breath. She nods, her eyes closed. This isn't Hawthorne anymore. We aren't tied by our childhood or by our shared need to escape. We are both just people in this system. She opens her eyes. I release you, Peak. You are free of me. Esh, please. They hold out a hand. There is a life here if you want it. Esh turns and smiles at Peak, her eyes wet now too. Then you live it for me, Peak. I can't. As she climbs up the boarding ramp, the evacuees taking their chance to climb on board too. You watch as the shuttle closes its ramp, lifts off, and leaves the bay. The crowds are dispersing now. As they get onto the shuttles or say their goodbyes and move back into the main part of the cordon, you push past the last of them to reach Peak. Peak doesn't turn as you come closer. Sleeper, Esh is gone. Stay silent. They turn to face you. I'll miss the Briar, but she'll serve Esh well, I know that. Sleeper. Shout takes you by surprise, and as you turn, you see Saul coming across the bay towards you, the last two shuttles loading up behind him. He reaches you, his suit hissing as he does. Can't believe you'd make an old man run across this bay to get you. He pauses to take a breath. The Singers have gone. They left at the start of the cycle. They broke away from the flotilla. You smile as you think of Tala, safely cradled within one of those Singer ships on her way to the starboard belt, and hopefully a reunion with her brother. Godspeed, Tala. What are you smiling at? Saul interrupts your thoughts. They forced our hand. We have to leave now. Saul shakes his head. If we follow close enough behind, maybe they'll end up being our scouts anyway. I reckon any hostile spacers out there will give them a wide berth. Pilgrim Seed will need a little time to make our way out of the cordon, but I'm heading back now to get her started. Thankfully, the step ships are sticking with us, so we'll be plenty well supplied for the journey to the belt. He pauses. Anyway, I didn't plot all the way over here to tell you that. Saul looks between you and Peak with a raised eyebrow. It's now or never, Sleeper. I'm good to my word and I kept a berth for you, but this is your last chance to take it. He scratches at his beard. Make a call. You glance out at the flotilla beyond the bay, beautiful in the light of Helion's sun. You think of the long journey to the starboard belt, the people inside the Pilgrim Seed, the possible futures that await. Then you think of the people here on the eye, of Peak beside you, of the Battanian, of Tala, and the key that still hangs around your neck, of promises and possibilities. I'm staying. You open your mouth to speak and realize this is the final time you will make this choice. You have to be sure. I'm staying. You say the words, and the moment you do, the weight of it all seems to descend on you. You stumble a little, then stand straight, refusing to be crushed. Feel a tightness in your chest and a haze blurring your thoughts. Saul nods. Good luck, he sighs. You'll need it. He grips your shoulder and meets your eye. In the haze, his pitted and rough hand feels so real, so detailed that it grounds you. and then it is gone, and Saul goes with it, quickly moving to the waiting shuttle. As he does, you watch, unable to speak, your whole body pulsing. And then another hand falls on your shoulder, and it grounds you once more. You turn to see Peak's bright eyes. "Let's go, sleeper." You nod, and seeing how unsteady you are on your feet, Peak puts an arm around you and steers you towards the entrance to the bay. As they do, you hear the roar, feel the wind as the shuttle lifts off, and angles toward the flotilla. You don't turn. Instead, you keep your head down and focus on each step. As you do, you feel Peak beside you, holding a little of your weight, and you holding a little of theirs. This is how it will be for many cycles after you both leave the bay and head back into the eye. You will both hold things for each other, remind each other of the choices you made, remind each other why it's important to keep going, despite the moments when it seems impossible. You will keep each other going. That support will be vital when the second Flux event hits the eye. When it knocks the entire free spoke off the power grid, making the whole station lurch with a sickening motion. When it cripples systems and corrupts processes, leading sections of the station to go dark or start venting oxygen. When holding on is all you can do while the world seems to come apart around you. And yet somehow the eye will persist. Systems will resist total collapse in ways that will seem inexplicable to many, but to you and Peak, they will signal the awakening of a new force within the station. That new force will bring with it new challenges and new possibilities in equal measure. Strange growths will be reported all around the station in the wake of the Flux event. Fungal crusts pushing through pipes and wiring. The eye will go wild and fecund, becoming a station of increasing unpredictability, prone to a seasonal rhythm of spore clouds and sudden growth spurts. There will be a strange and unsettling beauty to this paradigm shift. The greening of the station turns it from a corporate ruin to some altogether new assemblage of biological and mechanical structures. Rico will take on this challenge with energy that seems impossible for her age, and until her final day, she will delight in the new mysteries the eye and its gardener produce. And as this new era consolidates around the station, you will find yourself in the Battanian most cycles, working to keep the place alive. The cycle where you invite Emphis to come make use of the kitchen will go from a one-off event to a regular occurrence, and soon the Battanian will be filled with spacers eager to try the best preparations of the station's now abundant mushrooms. And on occasion, after a long shift of the Battanian, you'll hear the sound of the stray mewling, "Yay!" and you will crumble up some food and sit and watch the cat eat, as if it is the only thing in your world that matters. However, into all this newness, the bad old ways will still intrude. Senate Stat, frustrated by the eye's resilience, will begin to send more physical threats, and supply ships and traders will suddenly stop arriving, stopped by a blockade of corporate militia. Life on the eye will be punctuated by wide-channel broadcasts from Senate Stat stating legal precedents and quoting deeds of ownership, staking a claim on the system. Meanwhile, Havanage's hardliners will fizzle out, losing their grip on the Havanage Council. In their wake, Helene will spearhead a series of reforms that will scale back Havanage's overreach, returning them to the caretaker role they had always intended to fulfill. As the cycles roll on and the threats gather, new broadcasts will join them, sent by Conway Extractions, making counterclaims on assets within the Helion system. And many on the eye will grow quiet, losing their appetite for debating these political machinations as they tilt inexorably towards a corporate war. And ever on, the eye will spin, growing now in strange ways, haunted by strange new growths, and hosting cultures of increasing resilience. As the Helion system descends into crisis, you will find comfort in the fungal patterns, the familiar conversations, the spices and the smells that will accumulate around you as your body continues its unavoidable decay. They settle around you, like a veil, and in time it will be impossible to see the eye without seeing its many variants and versions, past and potential futures, and this masking of the world will mark your approaching end. And one cycle, far from now, that accumulation of memories, of tastes, of people and places and moments will be the last thing you let go of. But for now, there is only you and Peak, arms around each other, walking slowly out of the bay, two figures born of crippled systems linked together, continuing despite your origins. And in this frozen moment, you focus on only the next step, because that is the only way you have learnt to persist. And to persist is to believe that a future, any future at all, is possible. And that is game over. That is the game. Very thoughtful ending. I'm glad that the stray cat got a mention, honorable mention at the end. I'm going to dump 8 million credits into that, into feeding the stray. At least it got one paragraph at the end. I'm glad for that. All right. It was nice. I think I would go back on my own and play one of the other starts and see if I can explore some of the other paths, just either for the sake of achievement hunting or out of curiosity. But that's good. I believe we are done. That is the final episode, story episode, for Citizen Sleeper. Single developer studio. Good story. I don't know what continue is going to do for us, because it's like, yeah, okay, it takes us to the menu. So that's it. All right. That's pretty good timing, too, because about done to the end of the stream anyway for tonight. Perfect timing. Okay. So, now that we're done with Citizen Sleeper, think about what game to play next. I've got some ideas, but I think I'm just going to leave it to see. Leave it to see what strikes my fancy on Thursday. There's all kinds of stuff. All kinds of stuff on my list to play. And updates for old games I haven't touched in a long time. All kinds of things we might look at. I don't know yet. We'll see. We'll see on Thursday. Okay. Anyway, thanks everyone for coming by. This was the final episode of Citizen Sleeper. I'm going to put my outro there. The YouTube has got a playlist of all the previous sessions for Citizen Sleeper in case you're missed anything or want to go back and watch from the beginning. Otherwise, I will be back on Thursday for some type of video game. Smork, Saul, Miramouse, thank you very much for all coming by and hanging out with me tonight. Okay, everyone, be good. Enjoy the rest of your week, and I hope that everything goes just perfectly for you all. All right. Be awesome, everyone. See you on Thursday. Good night.